As the Sith Lord Darth Ramage stood on the deck of his sleek, ominous spaceship, the dark energy around him seemed to pulsate with purpose. His apprentice, Darth Tenebrous, stood by his side, waiting for his master's words. The starry void of space stretched before them, but their focus was on a far more subtle and insidious mission. "Master," Tenebrous began cautiously, his voice laced with both curiosity and anticipation, "what is the next stage of our plan?" Ramage was silent for a moment, his mind calculating possibilities, considering the implications of the Jedi they were hunting. He knew that he was no ordinary Jedi. His abilities with time and space, his connection to the very fabric of reality, made him a threat, unlike any the Sith had faced in centuries. This was not a mission where brute strength would suffice. They needed to be clever, to anticipate every possible outcome. Finally, Ramage spoke, his voice a low, cold rumble. "The plan," he said, "is not to plan. We cannot allow our thoughts to betray us. This Jedi, with his power over time, may very well see our intentions before we act. We must cloak ourselves not just in shadows, but in time itself." Tenebrous tilted his head, intrigued but puzzled. "How do we hide from a being that can see the future, Master?" A thin, sinister smile curled on Ramage's lips. "We will seek out the Night Sisters of Dathomir. Their dark magic is ancient, predating even the Sith. They have the power to mask our presence not just from sight, but from the flow of time itself. With their help, we can move undetected, even by a Jedi who can see through the veils of the future." Dathomir was a planet steeped in dark energy, a place where the Force took on a twisted, malevolent form. The Night Sisters, practitioners of dark magic, wielded powers that could rival even the strongest Sith. Ramage knew that they would be both a valuable ally and a dangerous one. Within hours, their ship arrived at Dathomir, the planet's blood-red surface glowing ominously beneath the blackened sky. As they descended, the atmosphere seemed to crackle with an energy that made even Tenebrous uneasy. They were greeted by the leader of the Night Sisters, a tall, imposing witch with eyes that glowed a sickly green. Her face was painted with the marks of her clan, and her voice carried the weight of ancient power. "Darth Ramage," she hissed, her voice echoing in the eerie stillness of the night. "What brings the Sith to Dathomir?" Ramage stepped forward, his presence dominating the space. "We seek your assistance, Night Sister. We are hunting a Jedi with powers over time itself. We need your magic to cloak our presence from his sight, to hide us in the timelines he may seek." The Night Sister leader considered his request, her eyes narrowing as she weighed the potential benefits. "Such a spell is powerful, Sith. It will require the energy of several of my sisters to maintain. And what do we gain from aiding you?" Ramage's smile was cold and calculating. "Help us capture this Jedi, and you will have the favor of the Sith. The galaxy is on the brink of war, and those who stand with us will find themselves on the winning side. Your power will be respected, your demands met." The Night Sister leader exchanged a glance with her sisters, their silent communication quick and decisive. "Very well," she said, nodding. "We will cloak you from the timelines, but some of my sisters will need to accompany you to Mandalore to maintain the spell." As the Night Sisters began their dark ritual, the air around Darth Ramage and Tenebrous grew thick with energy. The witches chanted in an ancient tongue, their voices rising in a haunting harmony that seemed to resonate with the very core of the planet. Slowly, the Sith could feel their presence beginning to fade from the Force, from the currents of time. Meanwhile, on Mandalore, Soren Warde sat in quiet meditation, trying to make sense of the strange, murky visions that had begun to plague him. It was as if he were looking through dirty water, the images unclear and distorted. He could sense a darkness looming, but it was as if something or someone was deliberately obscuring it from him. Frustration gnawed at him as he struggled to see through the fog that clouded his foresight. Soren contacted Theron through a hollow message, his face tense as the transmission connected. "Master," Soren said, his voice betraying the unease he felt, "I'm sensing something wrong. My visions are clouded, and there's a darkness I can't quite see. I fear something is coming, but I can't tell what." Theron's image flickered to life, his expression calm yet tinged with concern. "I have felt a disturbance in the Force as well, Soren," Theron replied. "It's faint, but it's there. You must trust your instincts. I believe it is time for me to come to Mandalore. Together, we will face whatever is coming. With the Night Sisters' spell in place, Darth Ramage and his apprentice, Darth Tenebris, arrived on Mandalore, their presence completely hidden from the timeline. The dark ritual cloaked them so effectively that not even those with the power to see the future would detect them. Upon their arrival, they immediately reached out to their spies scattered across Mandalore, eager to uncover the identity of the mysterious Jedi. It didn't take long for their spies to report back. The Jedi in question was a shadowy figure, known to only 2 people on the entire planet. Ramage, standing beside his apprentice, smirked. "This won't be a problem," he told Tenebris with quiet confidence. "Jedi cannot resist the call when lives are at risk. We'll draw him out with ease. All we need is the right bait." Meanwhile, Theron's ship descended onto Mandalore, where Soren and Tivara eagerly awaited his arrival. As they met, Theron greeted them warmly. "It's good to see you both," he said, though his tone was serious. "I wish the circumstances were different." "Thank you for coming, Theron," Soren replied, the weight of the situation clear in his voice. Theron immediately inquired if there had been any reports of unusual activity on Mandalore. Tivara informed him that the Mandalorian clans were on high alert, but no reports of significance had come in. "Soren's visions are still clouded," she added, "as though dark forces are at work." On the other side of the planet, deep in the wilderness, Darth Ramage and Darth Tenebris stood in a circle of Night Sisters, their presence obscured even from the Force. Ramage, his voice firm and commanding, addressed his apprentice. "It is time to set the trap, Tenebris. Send our spies to Keldabe. They know the orders. Once they've completed their task, we will use the Night Sisters' magic to show the Jedi exactly what we want him to see." Back at their base, Soren, Theron, Tivara, and Rokan the Armorer were deep in discussion when Soren was suddenly struck by a vision. His eyes glazed over as he saw a massive explosion at one of Keldabe's power stations. The vision was vivid. The origin of the explosion, the resulting devastation, all of it burned into his mind. Snapping out of the vision, Soren urgently relayed what he had seen to the others. Theron, calm and resolute, stood up. "What are we waiting for?" he asked, his voice full of resolve. "Let's see what fate has in store for us." The group rushed to Keldabe, where Soren quickly located and disarmed the undetonated explosives. They were ready for a confrontation, but nothing happened. After thoroughly searching the area and finding no further threats, they regrouped, puzzled by the situation. It was clear something was amiss, but they couldn't pinpoint what. Unbeknownst to them, the Sith were masters of patience. Darth Ramage and Tenebris were willing to wait as long as necessary to see their plans come to fruition. As Soren, Theron, Tivara, and Rokan continued to scour the area for clues, a cloaked figure silently approached Tivara's ship and discreetly attached a tracker. In a darkened room aboard their ship, Darth Ramage stood, awaiting news of the mission's success. A voice crackled over the communicator. "Master, there are 2 Jedi and 2 Mandalorians. The tracker is in position. We will soon know where the Jedi resides." Ramage's lips curled into a satisfied grin. "Well done, my apprentice," he replied, his mind already calculating the next move in their intricate game of shadows and deception. As Darth Ramage and his apprentice Darth Tenebris enacted their dark plans on Mandalore, they knew they were facing a Jedi unlike any other. Cloaked in the Night Sisters' magic, the Sith Lord sought to test Soren Warde's power, sending bounty hunters to capture him while keeping their own presence hidden. Soren, with his extraordinary ability to freeze time, easily subdued the hunters, a display that filled Ramage with excitement and anticipation. "This is the power we've been searching for," Ramage whispered to Tenebris, his voice trembling with eagerness. "We must capture him and study his abilities, but we must not confront him directly. We will need all our cunning to trap such a being." Ramage's spies soon informed him that Soren, along with Theron and Tivara, were gathered at a dwelling on Mandalore, while the Mandalorian armorer, Rokan Vizsla, was alone at the Master Forge. Seeing an opportunity, Ramage ordered Tenebris to bring Rokan to him. "It's time to exploit the weakest link," he snarled. Rokan, a skilled Mandalorian warrior, sensed the intruder in his forge just as a dark hooded figure with glowing red eyes appeared before him. Despite his quick reflexes and deadly aim, Rokan was no match for the Sith Lord's power. He fell into darkness as the Sith's crimson lightsaber struck him down. When Rokan awoke, he found himself bound and at the mercy of Darth Ramage. The Sith Lord paced in front of him, mocking the Mandalorian's reputation as a warrior. "You will tell me everything, or you will suffer unimaginable pain," Ramage threatened. But Rokan, true to his Mandalorian nature, defied the Sith, laughing in his face. "You think I'll betray my friends? Do your worst, Sith scum." Ramage's anger flared, and he used the Force to inflict excruciating pain on Rokan, extracting the information he needed. The Sith Lord soon learned the identity of the Jedi, Soren Warde. He also discovered that Tivara was more than just an ally to Soren. She was his weakness. With this knowledge, Ramage laid his trap. While Soren, Theron, and Tivara discussed their plans, sensing the presence of a cunning enemy, Ramage sent droids to pump sleep gas into their quarters. As Soren awoke, he found himself in a cave, suspended in a containment field, surrounded by Night Sisters chanting in an ancient tongue. Before him stood Darth Ramage and Tenebris, lightsabers held to the throats of Tivara and Theron. Soren tried to freeze time, but nothing happened. Ramage laughed darkly. "You may have noticed your powers are gone," he sneered. "The Night Sisters are blocking them. Now you have a choice. Tell me the secret of your power, or watch your loved ones die." Soren pleaded for them to stop, but Ramage responded by driving his lightsaber through Theron's chest. "Kill the woman," he ordered Tenebris. As Tivara's life hung in the balance, something inside Soren snapped. A brilliant green light erupted from him, throwing the Night Sisters against the cave walls. In a flash, Soren disarmed Tenebris and held Tivara in his arms, his power radiating from him. "Tivara, please, not you." But Tivara, with a faint smile, whispered, "Go and teach those Sith a lesson." Fueled by grief and rage, Soren unleashed his full power. He located Ramage and, with a surge of green energy, disintegrated the Sith Lord into dust. Tenebris, realizing the battle was lost, fled with the remaining Night Sisters, never to return to Mandalore. In the aftermath, Soren and Tivara sat together, shaken by the events that had transpired. "We must go to Coruscant," Soren said, his voice heavy with sorrow, "to inform the Jedi Order of Theron's passing and the return of the Sith." Tivara, her hand in his, nodded. "We will do it together." The battle was over, but the war had just begun. The cave on Mandalore was quiet, save for the crackle of fading energy and the settling of dust from the collapsed battle. Soren Warde, exhausted and grief-stricken, sat beside the lifeless body of his mentor, Theron Voss. Tivara, weak but alive, leaned against him, her eyes heavy with sorrow. They had won the battle, but the cost was immense. Theron was dead, and Rokan Vizsla, the legendary Mandalorian armorer, had fallen to the Sith's treachery. As the green glow from Soren's power dimmed, a cold silence filled the air. The fight had revealed the darkness hidden within the galaxy, a shadow that had been waiting, watching, and growing stronger. The return of the Sith was not merely a resurgence, it was the beginning of a new age of conflict. Days after the battle, Mandalore's leaders gathered to honor Rokan Vizsla. The ceremony was grim, and the weight of Rokan's loss was felt deeply by all present. Soren, Tivara, stood alongside the Mandalorian warriors, their grief mixed with a renewed sense of purpose. As the pyre burned, Tivara clenched her fists, determined to see her friend's sacrifice honored. "The Sith underestimated us," she said, her voice firm, despite the sorrow in her heart. "They thought they could break us by taking Rokan and Theron, but we are Mandalorians. We only grow stronger." Soren nodded, his gaze fixed on the flames. "The Sith have revealed themselves, and we will stop them. But first, we must warn the Jedi Order and prepare the galaxy for what's coming." With heavy hearts, Soren and Tivara prepared for their journey to Coruscant. The Jedi Council needed to be informed of Theron's death and the rise of a new Sith threat. As they boarded the ship, Soren could feel a sense of dread lingering in the Force. He couldn't shake the feeling that their battle was only just beginning. On the ship's deck, Tivara broke the silence. You know the Order won't take this lightly. The Sith have been gone for centuries, and now they've reappeared. The galaxy will be thrown into chaos if they aren't stopped. Soren sighed, his mind racing with thoughts of the challenges ahead. The Sith are cunning, patient. They've always relied on deception and manipulation. We have to be ready for more than just a direct confrontation. We need to outthink them. Meanwhile, deep in the Outer Rim, Darth Tenebris gathered what remained of his forces. The loss of Darth Ramage was a setback, but it was not the end of their plans. The Night Sisters had retreated back to Dathomir, but their alliance with the Sith was far from over. Tenebris paced in the dimly lit chamber, contemplating his next move. Soren Warde's power is formidable, he murmured, but every strength has a weakness. We will not face him in open battle again. Instead, we will unravel him from within. A dark smile crossed his lips as he envisioned a plan. The Jedi and the Mandalorians are united for now, but alliances can be broken. Fear, distrust, and ambition are powerful tools. We will strike at the heart of their unity. Back on Coruscant, the Jedi Council convened. Soren stood before them, recounting the events on Mandalore, the fall of Theron, and the disturbing resurgence of the Sith. Master Yarael Poof, an elder Jedi with centuries of wisdom, spoke gravely. The Sith's return is indeed alarming. They operate in the shadows, and their plans reach far beyond what we can see. We must tread carefully. Master Yoda added, "The loss of Theron Voss is a great blow. But Soren, your resilience has shown us that the future is still unwritten. The Force has chosen you for a reason." Soren bowed his head, burdened by both grief and responsibility. "I will do whatever it takes to protect the galaxy. Theron's teachings and Roken's sacrifice will not be in vain." The Council gave their blessing, but the weight of the galaxy's fate hung heavily in the air. The Jedi knew the Sith's threat was far from extinguished. Soren and Tivara had become key figures in the coming storm, a storm that would echo across the ages. Far across the galaxy, Darth Tenebris' ship cut through the void of space. He watched the swirling stars from his command chamber, already setting his plans into motion. "Mandalore was only the beginning," he hissed. "The Jedi will soon know true despair." As the galaxy spun on, two paths began to converge, one of light and one of darkness. The coming conflict would shape the fate of the galaxy for generations to come, as Jedi and Sith prepared for a clash that would leave scars on the Force itself. The dark times had only just begun. In the vast halls of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Soren Warde walked with a sense of purpose, but also with the weight of recent events. The loss of Theron Voss, his mentor and guide, still hung heavy on his heart. Yet there was something deeper, a burning question that led him to seek the wisdom of Master Yoda. Soren entered Yoda's chamber, the small green Jedi Master seated on a meditation mat, eyes closed as if sensing Soren's presence long before he arrived. Without opening his eyes, Yoda spoke. "Come, young Warde. Troubled, your mind is. Much you have seen, much more you seek." Soren took a deep breath, finding it difficult to begin. "Master Yoda, I need to tell you what Theron revealed to me before he died. He told me something I've never shared with anyone until now." Yoda's eyes opened, a mixture of wisdom and empathy reflecting in them. "No need, there is, to tell me. Shared with me already, he did. The truth, he knew. That your path was never truly among the Jedi Order." Soren blinked, taken aback. "You know?" Yoda nodded slowly. "The Founder's blood flows in your veins, it does. The Force is more than with you, Soren. You are the Force, manifested in human form. The Sith now know of your existence, and they will never stop hunting you. In their greed, they believe they can take what you have, but the Sith deal only in absolutes, in darkness. They do not see that you are more than they could ever control." Soren felt the weight of Yoda's words. "When I fought Darth Ramage, I felt something different. When I saw Theron die, I was consumed with anger, the power that surged through me. It was unlike anything I've felt before. For a moment I understood how easily someone could be consumed by the darkness, how it could take over. Yoda's expression remained calm, but his eyes held a deep understanding. Honest, you are, Soren. And that is why your path is different. The dark side preys on fear, anger, and loss. But you acknowledge the darkness, you do, without letting it control you. This is the struggle all Jedi face, but perhaps it is time for you to seek something greater. Soren tilted his head. What do you mean? Yoda's eyes gleamed as if revealing a piece of an ancient puzzle. The founders, Soren, the ones who first touched the flow of time and space. Hidden they are, but not beyond finding. They alone may hold the answers you seek, the truth of what your purpose truly is. The Sith will be in hiding after the fall of Ramage. Time you have, before they resurface. Soren gave a half smile. Theron really did tell you everything. Yoda's expression softened into a warm smile. He was my Padawan, long ago. As you confided in him, he confided in me. Always he worried, did he, that he was not enough to guide you. But guide you he did. In his own way, he prepared you to lead us all one day. Without him, your path would not be so clear. Extraordinary he was. Soren nodded, emotion rising within him. He saved me when I was lost. I'll always honor his teachings. Yoda closed his eyes again, as if listening to the currents of the Force. Then go, Soren. Find the Founders. Learn what you must. The Sith's shadow remains, but for now, it is in retreat. Destiny awaits. Soren took a deep breath, his resolve strengthening. You're right, Master Yoda. It's time I find the Founders of time and space. Maybe they can help me understand what my purpose is. Yoda's voice carried the weight of ages. The Force is with you, Soren. The answers you seek will be revealed in time. But remember, it is not the power you wield, but the heart that guides it, that defines your path. With those words, Soren bowed and left the chamber, his mind set on a new journey. The path ahead was unknown, but he knew one thing. He was ready to face whatever the future held. The story of Soren Warde was far from over. In fact, it was only just beginning. Soren Warde's conversation with Master Yoda left him with more questions than answers. The notion of seeking out the Founders, especially the Warden of Time and Space, was daunting but necessary. Yet, as he meditated within the peaceful confines of the Jedi Temple, something else tugged at his consciousness, a vision, clear and urgent. The meditation chamber was silent, the soft glow of the Force surrounding Soren as he focused his thoughts. But within moments, darkness crept into his vision, like a shroud of shadows swirling before his eyes. He saw the familiar face of Master Plo Koon, one of the wisest and most powerful Jedi in the Order. Beside him stood his Padawan, a young and determined Zabrak, with a fierce loyalty to the light. The scene that unfolded next struck Soren with dread. Plo Koon and his Padawan were in the midst of a rescue operation on a remote world ravaged by civil war. As they guided trapped civilians out of a collapsing building, the structure began to give way. Soren watched in horror as massive durasteel beams and debris rained down upon them. Despite their best efforts to hold the collapsing walls at bay with the Force, they were overwhelmed. The building came crashing down, burying them both beneath tons of rubble. Soren's eyes snapped open, his breath ragged. The Force echoed with urgency and sorrow. He knew what this meant. The future wasn't fixed, but this was a warning, a chance to change what might come to pass. Without hesitation, Soren sought out Master Yoda. The wise Jedi Master listened calmly as Soren described the vision in detail, his eyes narrowing as the severity of the situation became clear. Disturbing, this vision is, Yoda said, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of knowledge. Plo Koon, a friend and powerful Jedi, is, but heed this vision you must. If it is the will of the Force to intervene, then intervene you should. Soren nodded solemnly. I can't ignore it. Even with the search for the Founders ahead of me, I have one more mission before I can leave. If this vision is true, Master Plo Koon's life, and that of his Padawan, depends on it. Yoda placed a reassuring hand on Soren's shoulder. Trust in the Force you must, but cautious be. The dark side lingers, always. Your journey, this may delay, but fate calls you it does. When ready, you will seek the Warden and the secrets of time itself. Soren thanked Yoda and prepared for departure. There was no time to waste. As he made his way to his ship, Tivara was right by his side. Her presence was a comfort, her determination as strong as his. They had been through so much together, and she wouldn't let him face this mission alone. As they walked toward the ship, Tivara placed a hand on his arm. "I'm coming with you, Soren. We face this together." Soren smiled warmly. "I wouldn't have it any other way. The Force has shown me the path. This mission is just the beginning. Once it's done, we'll continue the search for the Founders together." Tivara nodded, her resolve unwavering. "Then let's get to work. We'll save Master Plo Koon, and after that, nothing will stop us." With renewed determination, Soren and Tivara boarded the ship, its engines roaring to life as it soared into the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of light and dark, but Soren knew that the battle for the future had just begun. His mission to save Master Plo Koon was only a detour. Soon, he would embark on a journey that would define the fate of not just himself, but the entire galaxy. As the ship streaked through hyperspace, Soren couldn't shake the feeling that everything was connected. The vision, the Sith's interest in him, the Founders, and the elusive Warden of time and space. But for now, he focused on the present. Plo Koon's life was in their hands, and he wouldn't let another tragedy unfold. With Tivara by his side, Soren felt stronger, more focused. They would face whatever challenges came their way, together. Little did they know, this mission would be the catalyst that set everything in motion, leading them toward the very heart of the Force's mysteries and the final confrontation with the darkness lurking just out of sight. The path of the Force was never easy, but Soren Warde and Tivara were ready to walk it.